Hi everybody, welcome to TrumpRepublican.News. This is Jack Easum and I'm with TrumpRepublican.News. That's TrumpRepublican.News. I'd like you to visit our website at www.TrumpRepublican.News and watch the videos and the other information that's there at the website. If you'd like to donate for the cause, go to the donate page. And I want to thank everyone who has been so supportive of this channel. Well, we're going to talk tonight about immigration. What the heck is President Trump doing on immigration? Well, we've heard a few things, but I'd like to go over just a few of the results he's been making. And he's got a lot of things he's done. So let's get started. President Trump enforced immigration laws to protect American communities and American jobs. Yes, he's trying to enforce it, but there's a lot of blowback, right? He's given all the Border Patrol, ICE, everyone, all the authority to follow the law, finally. But he's getting all kinds of hassle from Democrats in Congress, across the board, both sides of the aisle. Well, President Trump did call on Congress to fully fund a wall along the southern border to close legal loopholes that enable illegal immigrants to end chain immigration and to eliminate the visa lottery program. See, over the years, there have been so many games and loopholes that have been created by, well, special interests. Another thing President Trump has done is pulled the United States out of negotiations for a, quote, global compact on migration, end quote. That was a plan for global governance of immigration and refugee policy that may have compromised our U.S. sovereignty. Well, we have the right to not let people into our borders, but that's where the globalists were headed. Under President Trump's leadership, the Department of Homeland Security took action to wind down the Deferred Action for Childhood Arrivals, the so-called DACA program, in an orderly fashion, following the assessment of the Department of Justice that DACA lacks legal authorization. Sure, they're just letting people in willy-nilly. They're not following the law. This action gives Congress the opportunity to consider appropriate legislative solutions, which is required by the U.S. Constitution. And for those in Congress that might be listening, that's called the highest law in the land. That's what you're supposed to be following. Then everything else is beneath that. The Trump administration rescinded the unlawful DACA, or the DAPA program, which was for the parents of these kids. And the Department of Homeland Security launched the Office of Victims of Immigration Crime Enforcement. From President Trump's inauguration through the end of fiscal year 2017, U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, that's ICE, made 110,568 arrests of illegal aliens, a 40% increase compared to the same time period for the prior year. Over the same time period, removals that resulted from arrests increased by 37%. He's getting rid of the bad guys. That's what's really essential. Of the illegal aliens arrested by ICE, over 92%, let me say it again, 92% had criminal convictions or pending criminal charges. They were fugitives from ICE or were illegal re-entrants. That means they've been keep coming back, you know, like a boomerang. In fiscal year 2017, there was a 17% decrease in border removals, which shows the deterrent effect of strong interior enforcement. In other words, they weren't trying to get in as much. The number of counties participating in something called the 287G program, that gives state and local law enforcement entities delegated authority by ICE to enforce immigration in their jurisdiction. That's doubled. Well, in California, they've tried to do away with it completely, and some mayors have instructed their police force not to stop. It's a catch and release kind of thing. The Trump administration cracked down on sanctuary cities by improving the administration of federal grants to increase information sharing on illegal aliens. Well, they cracked down on the sanctuary cities by not funding them for these grants. And they, of course, got hurt in their pocketbook. The Department of Justice announced more than $98 million in grant funding to hire 802 additional full-time law enforcement officers. That's a pretty good increase across the southern border anyway. President Trump signed an executive order to restore state and local law enforcement's access to surplus Defense Department equipment through the 1033 program, including safety equipment. That's where the older military equipment's being given to law enforcement, so they'll have a better chance of enforcing the law. Here's the one I especially like. The Department of Justice under Jeff Sessions has worked with Central American partners to arrest and charge about 4,000 MS-13 gang members. This includes the alleged leader of MS-13's East Coast program. I want to repeat that. The Department of Justice has worked with Central American partners to arrest and charge about 4,000 MS-13 gang members. Includes the leader of the East Coast program. I just want to say that's incredibly fantastic. The MS-13 gang is international in scope. So we, in America, we tend to just think about the United States, our borders. But all of this is international, all the way down through Latin America to Europe to the Middle East to Asia, where these immigration problems are. Now, MS-13, they are known throughout Latin America down through part of South America for assassinating judges and elected officials. They're assassins. That's what they do. And a number of them were trying to get into the United States through a program that was being sponsored by people in the international community, which the international deep state, I like to call it the deep swamp. But remember, the deep state is not just in the U.S., it's also international. Well, the list continues on. President Trump signed 3 executive orders aimed at cracking down on international criminal organizations. That's right. In June, Attorney General Jeff Sessions announced the creation of the new National Public Safety Partnership, which is a kind of a cooperative initiative with cities to reduce violent crime. Well, the border security, so far the White House has negotiated $1.6 billion in border wall funding. There's an increase of more than 10% in ICE funding. And federal agents have seized nearly 1 million pounds, that's 981,000 pounds, of narcotics on the border. Well, Mr. President, it sounds like you've been quite busy focusing in on the immigration and all the things that are happening down there. I know you're fighting on many different fronts, but congratulations on making the breakthroughs that you have done. You're just doing superb. Keep going, as they say, right? And let's make America great again. And like President Trump likes to say, keep moving forward. Never, ever give up. God bless everybody.